Shalom, shalom. You see the title of the video, "Scummy Beginnings." Saying to call out no one particular religion individually. Excuse me. This is more or less just to, again, just examine things objectively, and just search for truth. And you see the title again. I have some questions. If the founders of your a religion or movement are not people who you can like vouch for their character, then why would you be in that movement? Um, I think that's like a pretty fair, obvious question, right? So, I'll say this: religion. I want to make this analogy here. Religion. I will compare it to a pair of crutches. Okay, so if you have a broken leg, you obviously need crutches to assist you to get back to where as though you can walk, you know, in the condition which you normally would be able to do, you know. Um, so if you are, outside, so to speak, you know what I mean? If you are off the porch, so to speak, if you are doing all the things that, rap music convinces us to do, you know what I'm saying, convinces us that that's cool, this stuff that I used to do that I used to think was cool. Um, and you hear, someone come along that can obviously identify with, you know, the decisions that you've made, the conditions that you've been brought up in, and they can, they use they're you know, an orator, they're slick talker, and they also have a mix up of religion, which they're throwing at you a little bit, and they're giving giving you a little bit of pro black rhetoric mixed in with that. So like I get it. You know what I mean? Like, so if you outside, and I'm not this ain't to say that everybody that's young and black is outside selling drugs and killing people, but at the end of the day, if you outside and you doing what you do, you in that lifestyle, and what I mean, again, just compare it to just let's talk on this level. Just if religion helps you raise your frequency from where you were to where you're trying, suddenly you saw the light, suddenly you saw yourself, and you know what I mean, like you saw, you know, the trajectory that your life was heading, and you want to change it, and religion was the is what helped you change that, what helped you, correct your step to help you walk a little bit better, then okay, that's what's up. Can you raise your frequency without it? All right. So back to that analogy, you know what I mean? Like it would be as if your leg was fully healed and you continue to walk around with crutches. You know what I'm saying? Like, how crazy would that look, right? So like your leg is fully healed. You can walk. Not only can you walk, you can, skip to my loo, you can run, you can dunk probably. If you, were willing to get rid of the crutches, if you were willing to drop the crutches. But it's like, that's kind of like the thing, what aids you sometimes can be the thing that holds you back, that also hurts you. You know what I'm saying? So that's hence the title of my channel, Know Yourself. Like, so I guess that's on that point, what I would say as far as like with religion. I want to get into some YouTube videos. I don't want to spend, so you see who's on your screen, right? Wallace Farrakhan Muhammad. This is the founder, this is the OG, it's the triple OG, this is the godfather of, Muslims here in America, particularly the Nation of Islam, if I'm going to be specific, all right? So, um, it's like I want. All right, so I want to get ahead of myself. I'm not gonna spend too much time on him. You can look, and this is just Wikipedia. So we're not gonna do hard research on him, right? Because I mean, anybody with a Wikipedia can, anybody with access to the internet can do what I'm doing right now. Go down his Wikipedia. It's a couple things. And I'm going to shout out Kareemio, saying that I did in the last video, because he has a 3-part documentary pretty much on this guy, this mystery man, who is the founder of the N.O.I, as we know it, So see what's on your screen, blah, 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 founder of the Nation of Islam. He arrived in Detroit in 1930 with an ambiguous background and several aliases, and proselytized syncretic Islamic teachings to the city's black population. Okay, so basically, to condense, to put that sentence another way, he took a bunch of different Islam. How there's different sects in Christianity. You have your, Baptist, you got your Protestant, you got your Catholic, you got your AME, blah, blah, blah. And there's a bunch of different sects in Christianity because it's belief. So anyone can believe anything and start a sect. So same thing you have in Islam. You got your Shiite, you got your Sunni, and then you see all these different, various different teachings. Druzism, I never heard of that. 7er Shiism, 12er Shiism, Shiite extremism, Babism, Bahamism. These are some beliefs I've never heard. Sufism. So you got Suf. So he just put a bunch of shit in a blender, and came to America. He's a con man. So long story short, and I'm not gonna spend too much time on him, but he's a con man. That's his history. So we want to get. I'm want to get to Mr. Elijah Poole, aka Elijah Muhammed. We're gonna come back to him, but yeah. So on the note of Wildfire Muhammad, like I said, I want to go to I want to show you Kareemio's page. All right, let me just do this. Present. I want to show you Kareemio's YouTube page real quick. Share screen. Let's do this. There we go. Boom. All right, yeah. So he has, 3 different videos. Excuse me. He's up to 3 different. He's up to 3 videos investigating, Far Muhammad. So whatever you WD Ford, whatever you want to call this guy, he has 50 different aliases. Nobody knows where he's from. See, again, it's on part 3. Nobody knows where this guy's from. Nobody knows his real name. His wife, mystery guy, scam artist. So I'm not going to spend too much time on him. Who I want to spend time on. So we're going to go. How do it's got to be an easier way to do this. Anyway. All right. So, I want to get to Elijah Muhammad. Let's do that. I know there's an easy way to do this, but anyway. Boom, boom. So, Elijah Muhammad. Okay. So he taught a hodgepodge, a blended up, a mixed up, batch of teachings to a bunch of illiterate niggas. I mean, let's call a spade in Detroit. Let's keep it a buck, right? People who couldn't read or write, people who didn't read for themselves. All right, one of those was Elijah Muhammad. So you see right here, in 1934, he disappeared. Again, mystery man. And Elijah Muhammad succeeded him as the leader of the Nation of Islam. So boom, let's go to his wiki. All right, we're gonna spend some time on him. So this mystery, this guy, okay. Again, anyone with access to the internet can read his wiki. All right. led the Nation of Islam from 1933 until his death in 75. I say not soon enough. Personally, I'm gonna keep my personal thoughts aside. Um, blah blah blah. Okay. Elijah Muhammad taught that Master Fard Muhammad is the quote son of man of the Bible. Okay, and after Fard's disappearance, his Houdini Act in 34, Muhammad, became the triple OG. Now he's the OG, right? So now he's the leader of your movement. He assumed control over Fard's former ministry, formally changing its name to the Nation of Islam. Okay. All right. So, I mean, I'm not making nothing up. I'm not stretching nothing, right? Let's spend some time on this guy. So back here to the dome. There has to be an easier way to do this. So just keep stopping the screen. Blah blah blah. Go back to YouTube real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Some videos I want you guys to check out because I really want to know Muslims. Why are you following this guy? I hear a lot of people talk about the honorable Elijah Muhammad. This, that, and that. After I play this video, I want you to show what's honorable about this guy. Okay. It's my channel. Yeah, playlist. Do. All right. Important. So just randomly. This one up didn't. It's not what I wanted to show first. So hang on. Whatever's loading. It's not what I wanted to show first. We'll wait for my Wi-Fi to finish struggling. Appreciate your patience. Okay. So what I wanted to show you.
Malcom X. 3 black Muslims.
Okay. Real quick. Was it this? Oh, yeah, this is it. So we're gonna let this go for a little bit. Fair use. Shout out Malisha Bass.
Minister Malcolm, when you broke with Elijah Muhammad back in March, you said it was because the black Muslims were too narrowly sectarian and inhibited, and because Elijah Muhammad had become blindly jealous of you and the personal following you had gathered.
I said the first part, but the last part, I didn't say that Elijah Muhammad himself had become blindly jealous. I mentioned that it was his family and the officials in Chicago. Everything that I said always was designed to protect Mr. Muhammad himself, primarily because the image that he had created was the image that enabled his followers to remain strong in faith and things of that sort. And I didn't want to see any adverse effect or negative result develop in the faith of all of his followers. Mm-hmm. But actually, despite the fact that I tried to protect the Muslim movement,
Forgive my struggle Wi-Fi.
Use their newspaper to slander me and to label me as a hypocrite and as a rebel. And Mr. Muhammad himself said that I defected. Well, in reality.
Okay. Hang on. We'll give it some time to load up. I'll give it a second to load up. So in this video, Malcolm's going to talk about why he left the Nation of Islam. I'm curious, how can you honor Malcolm X and be appreciative of his works and who he is as a person, and then also run around and say the honorable Elijah Muhammad, this, that, and the third, you are a glazer for Farrakhan. I don't get how we're doing both. I hear a lot of people, whether it's, I don't want to call nobody out, but I hear a lot of people, a lot of these pro-black people, quote unquote, just being total scrotum holders for Elijah Muhammad and Marcus Garvey and Noble Drew Ali, Farrakhan, all these, Masons, all these guys who do a lot of creepy stuff behind closed doors. Um, but they started some, quote unquote pro-black, semi-religious movement, and you feel like, again, just I get it. We want to be a part of something, so there's that. There's, the unity in which it brings. And I'm not, knocking unity, and there's, positive aspects to everything. So I'm not sitting here like I'm not here for slander, but again, I want you can hear where I'm going with this. I want you to get it from Malcolm's mouth himself. Hopefully my Wi-Fi will cooperate. Let's go try this again.
I never even left the Muslim movement. They put me out. And they put me out because of what I knew. And what I knew was told to me by Mr. Muhammad's son, Wallace Muhammad himself. They put me out and they put him out.
Well, now, first of all, let's find out what it is that Wallace Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad's son, told you.
Well, number one, if you notice, the stick that I always used in presenting, representing, and defending the Muslim movement was the fact that it had the ability to reform the morals of the so-called Negro community. It eliminated drug addiction, alcoholism, fornication, adultery, loose sex.
Again, it's something. If you need something to help raise your vibration, if you need crutches to help you walk, nobody's laughing at you for that. Nobody's downing you for that.
Sexual behavior, which meant that it eliminated bastard babies, illegitimate children. Well, as long as I knew that this was what it represented and it gave me a strong stick, I could represent it and defend it. But we had a law which
Damn, wow, okay.
which was that whenever any Muslim became involved in any kind of sexual relationship with someone to whom they weren't married, that person would be brought before the Muslim community, humiliated, and then isolated for from 1 to 5 years. This was our law. Well, in 1950, was brought before the Muslim community and humiliated and isolated. And a year later, another secretary, this time one from
Okay.
me a strong stick, I could represent it and defend it. But we had a law which was that whenever any Muslim became involved in any kind of sexual relationship with someone to whom they weren't married, that person would be brought before the Muslim community, humiliated, and then isolated for from 1 to 5 years. This was our law. Well, in 1954, a teenage sister left Detroit and became one of Mr. Muhammad's personal secretaries. And there in the Chicago office, she became pregnant after being there for a year. And she was brought before the Muslim community and humiliated and isolated. And a year later, another secretary, this time one from Lansing, Michigan, came to Chicago. She also became pregnant. She was brought before the community and humiliated and isolated. And because the other person was never brought forth during this court session, it was concluded by all of Mr. Muhammad's followers that it was a non-Muslim who was the other party. Well, we grew so rapidly until that in 1957 or 58, the secretarial staff was expanded to, I think, 8 teenage sisters. In 1959, 6 of them disappeared. 2 of them reappeared in Philadelphia about 2 or 3 months later, and they were all right. The other 4 reappeared in 1960. All 4 of them had babies. All 4 of them had become involved with someone and become pregnant.
Okay, so there's a word for this. There's a word for this. You say it. Y'all know what it is.
And had these children. So it was, from what I now know, when the four of them got back to Chicago and began to compare notes, they found that the same man had told all of them the same story and had made all of them pregnant. That the same man was the father of all four of their children and had also been the father of the children brought forth by the two secretaries who preceded them. So this story was kept among these sisters until 1962. Two of them rebelled against the person who was responsible and began to tell the story all over the city of Chicago. It caused many of the Muslims in the Chicago mosque to leave and go back out in the street. They knew it. And I knew nothing about it until 1963 when Mr. Muhammad's son, who had been in prison, came out, and he had been a minister, and he was very religious and spiritual.
Okay, so this is his son. This is Elijah Muhammad's own flesh and blood son, telling Malcom X this. This is not hearsay.
And when he began to hear these rumors around Chicago, he went to one of the sisters, and the sister admitted to him that the rumor was true.
First-hand account.
It was he who first told me about it. And when he told me about it, I wrote to Mr. Muhammad and told him about it, and he admitted that he had a knowledge of it, and that he'd given me a religious explanation that would fit into prophecy and all of that. So I was quiet. And it wasn't until October of 1963 that it came up again. And when it came up again, I realized that the same person who had made these other sisters pregnant was still busy doing the same thing. He hadn't stopped. Two of the sisters had two children by the same man. And one of those two sisters was pregnant still, getting ready to have a third child by the same man. So when it was known among the Chicago officials that I had a knowledge of this, they become very fearful of me. They became very antagonistic toward me, and they had to do something to diminish the authority that I had, for fear that if this became public knowledge, the followers would leave the Muslim movement and follow me. And it was at that time that they used the statement that I made against President Kennedy as a pretext to cut my authority. And
so when Malcom X says something about, oh, that's, somebody asked him, what do you think about JFK getting assassinated? And he says, I think it's the chicken coming home to roost. That's the statement he's referring to.
Some other things happened that finally produced the split, or forced the split. And when I made the split, the only reason that I didn't make this public knowledge was I knew the implications, and I felt that if the Muslims who were in the Nation of Islam knew it, that which enabled them to be so strongly religious and exercise moral discipline would be shattered, and it would cause all of them to go right back and start doing the things that they had been doing previously.
Who is the father of all of these various children whom you have enumerated?
The first one to tell me who the father was Wallace Muhammad, and he told me that the father was Elijah Muhammad himself. One of the sisters, he went to the home of one of the sisters, and when he walked in the door, she says, I want to let you see something. And she showed him her child. She said, here's your brother, and your father is the father of this child. And then I questioned the sisters myself, because
Okay, just so that everybody's paying attention. This guy, Elijah Poole, Elijah Muhammad, who's the predecessor, who said that his OG, Wallace Farr Muhammad, this mystery man, this volcano insurance salesman, was the second coming of God. Okay, that's the level of scammery and shammery that these, like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so this guy Elijah Muhammad, all right, who took over the movement, was going around impregnating teenage girls. Teenage girls. There's a word for that. Not one, not two, not three, multiple. Some of them had multiple children by him. What's the word for that? Type it in the comments. But I just want to be clear. So this is not hearsay. This is not rumors. Elijah Poole's, aka Elijah Muhammad's own son, told Malcom X this, just to catch everyone up, in case someone's scratching their head, not paying attention. I don't want any type of I want maximum clarity here. All right.
I was shook up. And they admitted to me that Elijah Muhammad was the father of their children. And I took it to him. And it was at that time he told me that he was Muhammad, the prophet, and that Muhammad had 9 wives. He also told me that he was David. He was the modern David, and that he was the modern Solomon, and that he was
that. Okay, and this is an excuse. This goes back to religion and just believe. So the story of how Islam got started, y'all can go look this up. Is that a bird, an angel in the form of a bird, whispered to Muhammad. Muhammad was illiterate, couldn't read, couldn't write, wandering through the desert, just so happened to be wandering through the desert, and a bird in the form of, angel in the form of a bird came and whispered in his ear the Quran. And then he went and taught it to his followers, and thus the religion of Islam is born. Please, someone go look that up and call cap on me. Now, does that sound like some type of logical shit to you? Okay, so his explanation of why he's a pedophile, when Malcom X confronts him with, hey, bro, hey, what's going on? Elijah Poole's response, I'm Muhammad. You know what's even more disrespectful was to use a David reference when they refer to David as the Antichrist, which in itself is like, it's all, it shows you how buffoonery, how much buffoonery is going on in all of this religious, this use of religious pretense to do scumbag stuff. Like, this is all right. Press play.
It was meant for him to fulfill today all of the things that they did back there.
And how many of these illegitimate children did he father with the sisters?
Well, he made 6.
6. Okay.
Sisters pregnant. They all had children. 2 of those 6.
2 of the 6 had
2 children. One of those 2 is having a child right now. I am told that there is a 7th sister who is supposed to be in Mexico.
These are the ones we know about.
Mexico right now, and she's supposed to be having a child by him. For one thing, when you first separate from your wife, it's a physical separation, but it's not psychological. You still have feelings for her, and you protect her. But after the physical separation has taken place for a while, it becomes a psychological separation. It was the same way with me in the Muslim movement. When I first separated, it was a physical separation, but my feeling was still there. And it was only after my trip into the Muslim world and my pilgrimage to Mecca that I really was able to exercise the objective approach to it that enabled me to see that something had to be done to bring this to light. Otherwise, a whole lot of innocent people would be killed needlessly.
Well, these revelations that you are now making about Elijah Muhammad, what effect should they have on his following?
Well, I very much doubt that any of his followers who really are aware of what he has done would continue to follow him. He may try and justify it by saying that he's a Muslim.
Sadly, Malcom X, you were right. I mean, excuse me, you were wrong. Like, there's a whole movement today that followed Farrakhan, who's
that a Muslim has a right.
Who's gonna go on to apologize to your daughter about being, complicit in your assassination. I'm gonna show that too.
These wives. If this were the case, these sisters should not have been humiliated.
Right.
These sisters have been looked upon for the past 5 years or 6 years or 7 years as being guilty of having committed fornication. They have been debased. They have been degraded. I have heard him himself refer to them as having disgraced him. So if they were his wives, he should have given them a position of respect.
So women that you R-worded, because apparently you can't say that word on YouTube. Women that you R-worded, teenage women that you R-worded, have disgraced you. This is the psychology of basically the OG of your movement. So if you say you're down with, I can't say enough, nor do I need to say much. because it's kind of sick. I'm gonna hit play.
So that all of his followers would respect him and that they would have the protection of his followers today.
Well, do you feel that you then perhaps now should take over the leadership of the black Muslims?
No, I have no desire to take over the leadership of the black Muslims, and I have never had that desire. But I do have this desire. I have a desire to see the Afro-American in this country get the human rights that are his due. I believe that the Islam religion is the best religion for our people because it creates unity and it gives one dignity and racial confidence and all of these things that are necessary to make a complete human being.
The best religion is knowing yourself.
Are you not perhaps afraid of what might happen to you as a result of making these revelations?
Oh, yes. I probably am a dead man already.
What do you mean?
Reign and power, King. Reign and power, King. It seems like all the, the like pop, like they knew it, like, men who live with a purpose, like they knew, like they were ahead of their time. They knew that Hijack City wasn't going to take too kindly to, using their airwaves to, unite the people. So, they knew that their day was coming. And they didn't let that stop them, derail them from their path. So legends don't die. Reign in power, King. Continue to reign in power.
When you understand the makeup of the Muslim movement and the psychology of the Muslim movement, as long as if I myself, by having confidence in the leader of the Muslim movement, if someone came to me and I had no knowledge whatsoever of what had taken place and they told me what I'm saying, I would kill them.
Listen to this.
Myself. The only thing that would prevent me from killing someone who made a statement like this, they would have to be able to let me know that it's true. Now, if anyone had come to me other than Mr. Muhammad's son, I never would have believed it, even enough to look into it. But I had been around him so closely, I had seen indications of the reality of it.
So I wonder, so all these pro-black people, all these people that you run around saying the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and all of these people that, scrotum hole Farrakhan, I wonder, is it earmuffs? Is it, I don't want to see this. Had they not seen this video that is, it was uploaded 9 years ago, but obviously, like it's from the 1960s, B. So it's either don't know or don't care. Don't know or don't show. It's what we say, boys in the hood.
My religious sincerity made me block it out of my mind.
Have you received threats on your life?
Oh, yes.
Talking too much. I want y'all to hear this.
In December. In December. No, not.
So we said.
Into it. But I had been around him so closely, I had seen indications of the reality of it, but my religious sincerity made me block it out of my mind.
Have you received threats?
Religion. What did he just say? Religion made him ignore it. Made him block it out of his mind. What do you block? What? I don't want to talk too much. What type of like just bare basic realities is religion preventing you from realizing? Maybe that you can slam dunk if you drop the crutches. But let me shut up. Press play.
On your life?
Oh, yes. I first received threats on my life in December. In December. No, not in December, in January. When it first became known that I had come back to New York and told the captain of the fruit in New York, who was my right-hand man formerly, and also the secretary of the New York Mosque and the minister in Boston. When it became known that I had told them, then an effort was made to shut me up. One brother encouraged to go out to my house and shut me up. And fortunately, it was a brother who was well capable of doing so, but it was a brother who was highly intelligent. He was academically equipped to think for himself. And what he was told to do didn't add up. And fortunately, he was the one who put out a feeler to me to find out what was wrong. And I opened his eyes. And then he opened the eyes of the same crew whose job it is to do this kind of work.
You mean he was going to kill you?
Oh, yes. One of them was, an attempt was made to get one of them to wire my car with an explosive. That one is with me right now. Well, fortunately, while I was among the Muslims, I never lived beyond my means, and I have learned how to live within means. And I still have the clothes that that was provided for me at that time. I'm in the house that was provided for me, although we're in a court battle. They're trying to get it back. And I have made this statement to them concerning the house, that they could have it if they would take me back, if they would permit me to come before the Muslim movement, the rank and file, and explain or defend myself against all of the charges that they've made against me. They could have the house. But they are going contrary to their own laws by standing up in the mosque and indicting me, but never giving me a chance to defend myself. And they say that no one can judge me but Mr. Muhammad. In this case, Mr. Muhammad can't sit as judge because he's involved in the case.
Elijah Muhammad says of the Muslims, we carry no arms, and we do not seek to win victory with arms. We do nothing to others that we would not have done unto us.
The two brothers were sent after me with revolvers by Joseph, the captain of the Fruit in New York. They were armed. When a Muslim...
The reason I'm letting it go this far, I'm gonna, end it shortly. We're gonna go to another video, but so I hear a lot of people in denial about the fact that the Nation of Islam, and more specifically Elijah Poole, aka Elijah Muhammad, ordered the hit. They executed the hit, the assassination of Malcolm. I hear a lot of people in denial, and a lot of people want to, the FBI did it. The FBI allowed it to happen. They knew it was going to happen. So at best they assisted, but then the Nation of Islam clearly did it. As again, you hear what Malcolm is saying. I'm going to play another video. Then I'm going to play Farrakhan's own words. So like I don't know what this denial is about, other than again this wave riding, this weird. Okay, well, Muslims are cool. This weird, you know what I mean? This high school clique thing that a lot of your favorite pro-black Tariq Nasheed, a lot of these guys do, where it's like it's there for whatever reason, they're scared to like just call a spade a spade. Like I refuse to believe that they haven't seen these videos, but it's just okay, well, we want to work out for whatever reason. It's like Farrakhan is cool. You know what I mean? It's cool to be a Farrakhan follower. So like, you know what I mean? We're not gonna like admit the fact that like the video I'm gonna show you, it wasn't hard to. It's YouTube. Nothing is hard to find. It's the internet. It's 2020. It's gonna be 2025. Nothing is hard to find. I refuse to believe that they haven't seen what I've seen. They don't have access to the information that I have. It's just a weird. Just what I say in the last video, just selective discernment. Just I want to be down with this clique. I don't want to offend this group of people. I ain't got no problem calling someone a hotep, but I don't want to offend this group. These group of people are cool. It's not cool to talk about these group of people. So I ain't gonna say nothing. And anytime someone brings it up, the fact that Elijah Muhammad is a PDF file, or the fact that, he's the one who ordered the hit, as I'm going to show you on Malcom X, that they just, it's like they want to sweep it under the rug because Nation of Islam is what? Cool? That's weird to me, yo. That's really weird. And we're talking about, PDF philia. That's beyond weird. I want to praise Malcolm, but I also want to praise the people who assassinated him.
And you'll find this to be the pattern. When the Muslims were attacked in Monroe, Louisiana, Elijah Muhammad gave no signal to anybody across the nation to come to the defense of their brothers. When our brothers were attacked in Los Angeles, again, Elijah Muhammad gave no signal to anybody.
So Elijah Muhammad orders the hits. Like, that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. This shouldn't be an argument. This shouldn't be debatable. He's the leader. He orders he's bigger than the Paulie Castellano. He orders the hits. Like, you don't got to get no secondhand approval. Nothing goes down unless he say so. And if he wants someone touched, he says go touch him. If he says don't touch someone, they don't touch him. So what is this debate about?
To come to the defense of those brothers. Never have the Muslims anywhere in the country gotten any kind of instruction from the national office or headquarters on how to defend themselves when they are attacked by outsiders. The only times the Muslims have ever been given any instructions to commit violence is when that violence is directed against a fellow Muslim. His followers are violent against Negroes.
Against Negroes?
Yes, his followers will go out and attack another Negro, like they will attack me, or they will brutalize a fellow Muslim who breaks the law. But you don't find those same followers going out and becoming involved in the Negro struggle in any way whatsoever. Now, the violence that he accuses me of is my tendency to want to participate in the struggle of the Negro at all levels. This is what he calls violence.
One question before we go further with that. Has Wallace Muhammad left the black Muslims?
Wallace Muhammad was put out of the Muslim movement right along with me.
As far as you are concerned, you will accept the fealty, if you will, of any Negro anywhere under any conditions.
You have to define fealty.
Loyalty.
You
want them to give you their loyalty.
Not me, their loyalty. I'm not seeking for the loyalty of any Negro, but I am seeking that Negroes to learn how to be loyal to themselves.
Know
when
yourself.
When learns how to be loyal to himself, our problem is pretty well solved.
Bing, bang, bong. Bing, bang, bong. Be loyal. Know yourself. So, like, okay, let's move on. Real quick, before we jump into these other videos, I have a book. It's called The Black FBI Files. It's by Kenneth O'Reilly. Okay. So I posted. I'm going to go to my post section. I posted. This is on page 7. Okay. Again, this book was like, I don't know, like $25, if that, on Amazon. Bing, bang, bong, right here. FBI Files. Okay. Click on it. Forgive my janky Wi-Fi. Yeah. Don't need to that was my little comment. You don't need to join any organization to read a book. Guys are hijacked. See for yourself. See your story. Know yourself. So this is the book. And here's the quote that the FBI got on wiretap. It's time to turn his lights out. Can't really say. I got it cut off. Now I thought I had a better picture. Okay. I can go get the book, but I'll take a better picture. How about this? I'll take a better picture and leave it as the thumbnail. How about that? But anyway, I want to go back to I want to show you Farrakhan, who was the next, runner-up, next OG in line to take the thrones. Where I need to go to playlist. Yep, important. His daughter's body language, and it was his daughter's body language in this video for me. That's hang on real quick.
Members of the Nation of
Like I said,
convicted.
it just
Killed Malcom X. 3 black Muslims, members of the.
so. Listen to this scumbag in his own words. Real quick. Before I play that. Let's get Malcolm.
Your business.
Hold on. Spoiling it. Let's get Malcolm in his own words.
I wanted you to know that my house was bombed. It was bombed by the black Muslim movement upon the orders of Elijah Muhammed. Now, they had come around, so they had planned to do it from the front and the back so that I couldn't get out. They covered the front completely, the front door. Then they had come to the back but instead of getting in directly in the back of the house and throwing it this way, they stood at a 45-degree angle and tossed it at the window, so it glanced and went onto the ground. And the fire hit the window, and it woke up my second oldest baby. But the fire burned on the outside of the house. But had that one gone through that window, it would have fallen on a 6-year-old girl, a 4-year-old girl, and a 2-year-old girl. And I'm going to tell you, if it had done it, I'd taken my rifle and gone after anybody in sight. I would not wait. And I say that because of this. The police know the criminal operation of the Black Muslim movement because they have thoroughly infiltrated it.
The Muslims claim that you bombed your own house.
That's what I said. The Muslims claim I bombed my house.
Because they say it's rightfully there.
Yeah. No, well, you can take what you want. The Asan squad, the fire marshal, all of them are experts in this kind of thing. And if anybody can find where I bombed my house, they can put a rifle bullet through my head. It was my children and my own life and my wife's life that was at stake.
So this was the first time they tried to kill him. Again, I don't know what the debate is about. It's, again, situational discernment is just a manifestation of the overall just super destructive thought pattern of cognitive dissonance. So like anyone who's unwilling to see the fact
and frankly
of this truth, this just blatant in your face truth, not hard to research, not hard to verify truth. It's just, again, they're doing some weird, they're doing some weird, click writing, wave writing. Well, it's the Muslims are cool, so let me not talk about them. Maybe they're scared. I know a lot of people join, like in a lot of people become Muslim in prison. Like I get that for protection. I get that part, but it's like, at what point do we look at the facts? At what point do we examine the facts? That's all I'm about. It's the truth. So listen to Farrakhan's truth.
Now look at the wisdom of God. I'm just about finished now. Malcolm went out of the nation. We all were hurt. At least I can speak for myself. I loved him.
You love him.
Next to Elijah Muhammed, I didn't know anybody greater than Malcom X.
I hope y'all can hear this.
He would go out of the nation. But then the worst hurt was Malcolm going to Mike Wallace, telling Mike Wallace, and listen to the words now, Elijah Muhammad fathered children from his teenage secretaries. So Malcolm raised it to a moral issue. Listen to me carefully. Putting himself in the righteous position, putting his teacher in an immoral position, but then he's going to the white man to tell the white man what his leader and teacher had done. He did it with Mike Wallace. You can't deny this. This is actual fact. He came here to Chicago and went to cups and then when his cup.
All right. So everyone just heard. I hope everyone just heard what I just heard. So he brings up the issue of Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan's teacher, Malcom X's teacher, whatever, being a PDF file, impregnating multiple teenage women, teenage girls, not of the age of consent. Okay? There's a word for that. Anyway, he brings that issue up, and his objection, your man's objection, is not to that fact. He doesn't attempt to debunk it or refute it at any point. He doesn't say it's not true. His only objection is that Malcom X told it to the quote-unquote white man. So then I have nothing left. I can only deduce from this fact, from his own words, that he sees no problem with, his exact quote, he brings it to a moral issue. Farrakhan sees no moral issue with what Elijah Poole, aka Elijah Muhammad, was doing. This isn't me stretching. This isn't me like a loose inference. This isn't like something that he insinuated. This is a direct deduction from what he said. He raised an objection to what Malcom X did, but his sole objection was who Malcom X aired his grievances with. I don't care. Malcom X interview with a quote unquote white man, a Chinese man, a Buddhist man, a quote unquote Jewish man. It doesn't matter. Like, does the complexion, does the ethnicity of the reporter matter? When Malcom X is saying, hey, yeah, the leader of this movement is a PDF file, serial. Does it matter? So, again, this isn't me stretching. This isn't me hating. This isn't me, like, calling out a particular religion. This is just me having a problem as a father of teenage daughters, as someone who preys on teenage women. How about that? Can we just leave it at that?
Hobson had been a friend of black people. And he told
I want to play it back.
was Malcolm going to Mike Wallace, telling Mike Wallace, and listen to the words now, Elijah Muhammad fathered children from his teenage secretary.
He told you to listen to it, and again, he raises no objection to. He makes zero attempt to refute it.
So Malcolm raised it to a moral issue.
Yes. Preying on teenage girls and impregnating them and then shunning them and then using some religious justification for it, that makes you a scumbag. I would hope, I can't even say that because this is, in the era of Hollywood, but to anyone with any type of moral compass, as we would like to envision one, yes, that makes you a scumbag on anyone's right. For most people, I'm using the word "most" in quotations, scumbag is like, that's way beyond the acceptable scummy threshold for most people. But then again, I could be wrong because there's a lot of followers of him. But I'm gonna play.
Listen to me carefully. Putting himself in the righteous position, putting his teacher in an immoral position, but then he's going to the white man to tell the white man what his leader and teacher had done. He did it with Mike Wallace. You can't deny this. This is actual fact. He came here to Chicago and went to Cupsonet. When has Cupsonet been a friend of black people? And he told Cup.
When has pedophilia been acceptable amongst quote unquote black people? This makes me sick, honestly. I'm gonna give you a couple more minutes of the scumbag, and then you can get the rest of the interview on your own if you want.
I found that he was less man than I thought. Oh. He dogged the messenger. The man that took him from a pimp, from a hustler, from a stick-up man, and send him before the world. Now he's dogging his teacher. What do you think we felt? Elijah Muhammad wasn't just a leader. That's our spiritual guide and father, brother. You don't have to order me to kill you. If you attack my father, my orders come from my Lord.
So your PDF file, that PDF file is your father. Okay. All right, got it.
I want want you to hear me good, because every Muslim that loved Elijah Muhammad would have killed Malcolm if we had gotten a chance. No, I don't need no damn applause. I want you to think now.
He wants you to think.
We didn't incite that. Malcolm incited that in us. He would have been dead. He would never have lasted a year. Elijah Muhammad told us, leave him alone.
So you just heard out of his own mouth. Elijah Muhammad told us, leave him alone. In the book, Black FBI Files, quote, it's time to turn his lights out. So, like, at this point, he had it to be clear, Elijah Poole orders the hits. This isn't my words. This is Farrakhan's words. Muhammad say don't touch him. They don't move on him yet. Elijah Muhammad say snap his fingers, say go get him, boys. You know, Free Islam, hop on it.
Leave him alone. Told me to my face, leave him alone.
To his face, firsthand. Look at this coon nodding his head.
I love Elijah Muhammad enough that if you attack him, I would kill you. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I'm not a killer, but neither are you. But if somebody attack what you love, each one of you in here would become a killer instantaneously. Am I lying? Mother, let somebody look like they're attacking your child.
He asked a question, and I'm gonna wrap my commentary. I'm gonna keep my commentary short. But he poses the question: if someone attacks something you love, how many of you? He says, you know, I'm not a killer, but someone attacks if someone attacks something you love or someone you love, how many of you in the audience will become a killer instantaneously? I want to pose this question to you in the comments. If someone has not an accusation, concrete evidence, proof that someone you know, someone you're related to, is a serial PDF file, what is your next response? Can you love them from a distance? Can you say, you know what? Yeah, we're related. You know what? You may have loaned me $20 in the past. You may have, I might have smoked one with you. You might have bought me a beer when I was down bad. But you know what? That's my line. I can't really associate with you as a person, dog. Like, how many of you would do that? Or would you say, oh, man, he did X, Y, Z for me. So you know what? I'm going to just stick with him despite whatever, level of scumminess this guy could again, and I shouldn't be surprised at the response, but because I kind of already know the answer because I can see it in the amount of followers and the amount of sheeple there are today who blindly follow religions who have no knowledge of history whatsoever. No knowledge of their story whatsoever. But I'll give you a couple more seconds and I'm done with this guy.
Here's a woman who fought a bear because the bear snatched her baby. And she ran the bear down, screaming until the bear dropped her baby. Love casts out fear. We don't give a damn about no white man law when you attack what we love. And frankly, it ain't none of your business. What have you got to say about it? Did you teach Malcolm? Did you make Malcolm? Did you clean up Malcolm? Did you put Malcolm out?
I hate that so much, yo. Malcolm made Malcolm. You didn't make Malcolm anything. Malcolm made the Nation of Islam. Let's be clear. Let's be crystal. Malcolm made the nation. Malcolm made himself. And Malcolm left the nation. And y'all killed. and legends live on. Your empire is gonna rot, yo.
Was Malcolm your traitor or was he ours? And if we dealt with him like a nation deals with a traitor, what the hell business is it of yours?
All right. I'm pretty much cool on this guy. I got one more video. And that's the last time I want to get this. I want to hear this guy's talk for a very long time, forever, really. Check this out. Remember that energy, right?
Malcom X. 3 black Muslims, members of the Nation of Islam, were convicted. But the current leader of the Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, now acknowledges that words he spoke may have triggered the assassination.
As I spoke, I acknowledged that and regret that any word that I have said caused the loss of life.
Again, shout out Malik Shabazz, fair use.
Malcolm X was murdered 35 years ago in 1965. Today, the black revolutionary, once feared and misunderstood, enjoys a popularity and respect reserved for leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. The autobiography of Malcolm X was named by Time magazine as one of the 10 most important nonfiction books of the last century. And Denzel Washington was nominated for an Academy Award for his portrayal of Malcolm in Spike Lee's film.
Out of that hotel
Jump ahead real quick.
and into the property.
She summoned the memory of her parents.
Before I came here, I prayed and included my parents. They had to walk with me to the airport. They had to get me out of that hotel and into the property here.
You see, Adela Shabazz was there in the Audubon Ballroom in 1965 in New York to watch her father make a speech. She was there with her 2 younger sisters and her pregnant mother. And Adela, only 6 years old, watched as gunmen killed her father. Here's how her late mother...
Gunman, that scumbag who she's sitting across from, like, and his scumbag leader ordered to hit on, who told, like, they sanctioned the hit on. Imagine being the strength of this woman to even like participate in this tomfoolery is, you know what I mean, beyond me, because I couldn't have done it.
Mother, Betty Shabazz, described the murder.
I heard shots.
I'm not even gonna lie, because you can go get this on yourself. I want to get the scumbag apology.
Then when I was looking out,
I'm just like, go. I can't do too much of this. This is tough for me.
Look in amazement to the front. I knew they had shot my husband, and my children were crying. You know, what's going on? What's going on? Are they going to shoot us?
I'm a child with a forever memory of the most significant man in my life standing at a podium and falling backwards. That's forever. Miss Shabazz, for several months, I carried the picture of your father with all of these bullet holes in his chest. And I looked at the man that taught me, the man that nurtured me, the man that was the example of a man to me. And I wept.
His pain came from their shared history. As is well known, Malcolm was a dope peddler and street hustler. But during his 7 years in prison, he was introduced to the teachings of Elijah Muhammed, considered a holy with some of his teenage secretaries, and had children with them. Malcolm agonized over his discovery.
That is correct.
Adultery.
That is correct. Fornication was worthy of expulsion.
But in 1963, Malcolm X learned that Elijah Muhammad himself had repeatedly committed adultery with some of his teenage secretaries and had children with them. Malcolm agonized over his discovery, and in June of 1964, he told me about it.
And he called some of these women who were living in Los Angeles at the time and let me listen to the conversation. And it became apparent that he was telling the truth. He told you about that, yes?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, Malcolm...
So he knew about it. Farrakhan knew. Okay. Look who's alive and look who's a legend. I was gonna say, you know what I mean, something else, but again, yo, like he knew about it. There's no we got to be crystal clear about this, yo.
Malcolm was aware of other tensions growing within the Nation of Islam, for his popularity
Was the most honored and respected
and he outshone the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
in certain areas, yes.
In 1964, Malcom X broke with the Nation of Islam to form his own organization based on orthodox Muslim principles, which include a respect for all races. Malcolm and his family received numerous death threats from whom no one knows for sure.
Are you not perhaps afraid of what might happen to you?
Or hold back 35 years of anguish.
Indeed, the FBI probably had something to do with it. But we have to say that adult men between the ages of 20 and 40, black faces, who chose to put a trigger in their hands and unload until it was empty, have to be culpable. You can't keep pointing the finger, because my father was not killed from a grassy knoll. And I have sisters who are spun out into this environment as tumbleweed, unhealed. We knew to stay silent because as a child, I thought it could happen to me. That if I spoke up or said something, they'd take my mother. They'd take one of us. I got to hear reports of the traitor deserved it, so it never could go away. Those reports didn't come from the government. Those reports did not come from the police. They came from the tan and brown and black faces that once claimed themselves as family members.
Okay, yeah, so
What is going on, you?
so we're done. Yeah, I like my Wi-Fi is on the fritz. I hit pause. Okay, there we go. Yeah. There's really not much left to say. Stop following these movements. A lot of them were started by Masons who, when they got to a certain degree and, started to, they decided to let me just go get my own followers and start my own, branch off and start my own little situation. And it's just, it's just like, careful with the man worship, yo. I mean, like, all you have, like, read for yourself, get to know yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyone, if you don't read it for yourself, anyone can tell you anything. You know what I mean? Anyone could tell you, I'm God, I'm Allah, I'm the messenger, and, sell you a bunch of, bullshit, and you lap that shit right up because you're thirsty, and then you end up caught up in some weird type of man worship situation where you're, following someone who's a pedophile. Let's just keep it a buck. So, I mean, it's a lot I could say, but it's a lot. It's really not much I need to say. Again, the title of the video speaks for itself. Malcolm X's words speak for themselves. Anyone who's still running around, on this, Nation of Islam, and like, I don't know. I just want to, I'm not going to sit here and condemn no one. All I'm going to ask is, and this goes out to whoever, why are you following whatever man worship movement, religion that you're following? And I'll, like, I'm not expecting a genuine, honest answer from nobody in the comments, but I just want you to ask yourself that. And I'll leave you with this: Most High over everything. That's it. Shalom.